guys know now who won.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Okay.
And the winner is Caitlin.
She broke college records, sold out arenas as a rookie, and won WNBA Player of the Year in just her second season. But just as Caitlin Clark reached the peak of her powers, everything changed. Caitlin Clark has taken the basketball world by storm. From her record-breaking run at Iowa to her explosive entry into the WNBA, she has become the heartbeat of the Indiana Fever and the face of women's sports. With every step-back three, every no-look assist, and every floor-length pass, Clark isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. By her sophomore year in the league, Clark was torching the competition. She didn't just keep up with the veterans, she surpassed them. The sports world took notice. In July 2025, she took home the ESPY for WNBA Player of the Year, defeating giants like Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson, and Nafisa Collier. But right when she stood at the top, the unthinkable happened. During a highly anticipated game against the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin looked off, sluggish, in pain. Then it happened. Late in the game, she pulled up lame, grabbed her side, and winced. That groin injury she had been quietly managing in the background had reached a boiling point. The footage went viral. She was limping. The crowd was dead silent. Coaches huddled, fans prayed. Just days after being crowned the best in the league, Caitlin Clark announced she was pulling out of the All-Star Weekend, right as it was set to be hosted in her own city, Indianapolis. That meant no All-Star game, no three-point contest, and no homecoming celebration. The dream weekend, gone in an instant. She took to social media to break the news. Her message was raw, full of heartbreak emojis and vulnerability. She said stepping away was gut-wrenching but necessary. Her health had to come first. But this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning of something even deeper. A story of loss, leadership, and the power of team. So don't go anywhere, because the next chapters will change the way you look at this team forever. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to keep up with every moment of this emotional roller coaster.
Sure will be a big first step for me, but it's just one step for the WNBA. Thanks to all the great players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, the great Dawn Staley, and my back.
Caitlin Clark may have been forced off the court, but she never left the fight. Instead of retreating, she leaned in. She promised fans she'd be right there, on the bench, on the sidelines, cheering, clapping, lifting up her teammates. That's leadership. Meanwhile, the WNBA still needed a sharpshooter for the three-point contest, and they didn't have to search far. Lexy Hull, Caitlin's Fever teammate, was chosen to step in. Lexy had been quiet all season, but deadly. Her three-point percentage ranked among the league's best. Though she didn't have Caitlin's spotlight, the real hoopheads knew Hull could fire. This was her chance, her home arena, her city, her moment. But heartbreak wasn't done with the Fever. Just days before her All-Star debut, Lexy lost someone very close to her. Her dog Maggie, 14 years by her side. Her best friend, her family. Lexy posted a deeply emotional tribute on Instagram, saying goodbye to the sweetest Mags. The photo was a black and white snapshot of unconditional love. Fans and teammates poured in support. So when Lexy stepped onto that court for All-Star Weekend, she wasn't just representing her team. She was carrying heartbreak and turning it into fuel.
This is wild. WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. Uh-oh.
All eyes locked onto Lexy Hull. Could she handle the spotlight? Could she rise in the moment? As she stepped onto the court for the three-point contest, the tension was thick. The pressure, immense. But the second that horn sounded, she was ice cold. Swish, swish, swish. Shot after shot hit nothing but net. Her form, mechanical perfection. Her rhythm, unbreakable. The crowd in Indianapolis losing their minds. Each made basket turned up the volume. Each rack she cleared turned up the belief. And Caitlin, courtside in sweats, clapping louder than anyone. Standing up, yelling, celebrating every shot. By the end, Hull didn't just fill in. She nearly stole the entire event, finishing second overall, just one bucket short of the crown. For a player not even scheduled to compete, it was a defining moment. Fans online exploded with praise. Many had never seen her play. Now they couldn't stop talking about her. Silent Sniper, they called her. Stone Cold. And the most viral quote of all came from Caitlin Clark herself. Lexy held it down for us tonight. Hull had shown the world what quiet greatness looks like. A star wasn't born. She had already been there. She just finally got her moment to shine.
5 games with the injury, the quad, keeping Caitlin Clark on the sidelines. But Trevor, she was back today for...
Caitlin's injury kept her sidelined for 5 games. But Lexy Hull kept the flame burning. Highlights of her all-star performance ran on every sports show. Analysts debated if Lexy was ready to be the Fever's second face. Some said her shooting mechanics were the cleanest in the league. Others wondered if she could be a long-term star. Social media ran wild with side-by-side clips of Caitlin and Lexy. One tweet went viral. Clark's the queen. Hull's the sniper. Indiana's got 2 assassins. But behind the hype, fans were still asking, how bad was Caitlin's injury? Would she return in time for the Fever's playoff run? Team doctors gave the usual. No timeline. She's progressing. The media speculated wildly. Some insiders said the Fever might sit her for the rest of the season. Others believed Clark would fight to get back, even if it hurt. Then came her post. Simple, direct, chilling. I'm doing everything I can to be back when it matters. Trust me, I'll be ready.
Story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
That one line gave fans hope. Meanwhile, Lexy's grief stayed close to the surface. Her post about losing Maddie continued to spread. Thousands of messages flooded in. But Caitlin and Sophie's replies stood above the rest. Caitlin didn't write much, just a few words, but the weight of her empathy was unmistakable. Sophie Cunningham, on the other hand, posted a reply that hit like a gut punch. No, Lex, I'm so sorry. It wasn't just sympathy, it was sisterhood. These weren't teammates posting for clicks. They were women lifting each other in the darkest hours. And that's when the real story started to emerge.
We shall never know peace, at least when it comes to the WNBA space. It was this ad that Angel put out, and I don't know if this is part of a larger campaign where it's going to be similar themes in similar places, but because of where the WNBA All-Star Game is, and because of who plays on the Indiana Fever in the home city of the WNBA All-Star Game, it's going to raise some eyebrows.
Sophie Cunningham had long been the enforcer, the emotional engine, the fire starter. Earlier in the season, when Caitlin took a brutal foul, Sophie didn't hesitate. She charged onto the court to defend her rookie. She got fined. She didn't care. She wasn't just protecting a teammate. She was protecting family. As the season progressed, a bond formed. Sophie, Caitlin, Lexy. Fans saw it, felt it, and gave it a name. Tres Leches. 3 women, sweet as the dessert, tough as nails. Sophie even wore a shirt with cartoon versions of all 3. It exploded online. Everyone wanted one. Suddenly, Tres Leches wasn't just a nickname. It was a brand, a symbol of love, loyalty, and fire.
WNBA's All-Star game went down 36%. That is a lot. That's more than a third from last year. Last year was over 3.4 million people, and it went down to 2.1. Now, you could say is a success. Yeah, for women's sport, that's still a lot of people. But at the same time, it really isn't a success, because think about it. It's the only sport playing. It's the only game that's going. And you only could draw that. So, and this is with all this.
Through wins, through losses, through pain, this team didn't just survive. They transformed. When the lights faded and the noise died down, when the court felt cold, and the weight of expectations became too real, they held on to the one thing that couldn't be measured in stats: each other. Lexy Hall's grief was not hers to bear alone. It swept through the locker room like a quiet storm, binding the team in a deeper kind of understanding. Her teammates didn't just offer words. They showed up with presence, with strength, with solidarity. And when Caitlin Clark, basketball's brightest phenom, collapsed in injury, the moment felt like a collective heartbreak. But from that silence, Lexy rose, not just as a player, but as a steady force. Then came Sophie. She became the spark, the fire that refused to dim, the heartbeat that... A living, breathing unit of women who chose each other again and again, on and off the court. While the rest of the league chased stats and accolades, these 3 built something rarer: trust. Fans who once showed up for the wins now stayed for the bond. The cheers weren't just for baskets, they were for bravery, for the moments in between, for the love that pulsed through every pass, every timeout, every huddle. This was no longer just a basketball team. This was family.
It was just a good play on the basketball. I'm not sure what the refs saw to upgrade it, and that's up to their discretion after watching the initial whatever happened during the play and then whatever happened.
So what's the true legacy of the Indiana Fever in 2025? Is it the record-breaking nights? The epic comebacks? The awards that now decorate the franchise history? Partly, yes. But the deeper legacy lives in the shadows. Quiet, powerful, and human. It lives in the way Lexy Hall rose when Caitlin Clark fell. In the way Sophie stood tall when Lexy's emotions became too heavy to carry alone. In the way they all leaned on each other when everything threatened to collapse. When Caitlin was injured, critics assumed the Fever season was done. But Lexy stepped into the void, not just with skill, but with spirit. When Lexy stumbled under personal grief, Sophie steadied the ship. Together, they didn't just hold the line, they moved it forward. And they reminded the world that real victories aren't always captured on the scoreboard. Sometimes. They happen in the off-camera glances, in the midnight text messages, in the shared silence that says, "I've got you." This season wasn't just about resilience on the hardwood. It was about emotional resilience, about redefining what success truly means. The love between these teammates, the loyalty, the quiet sacrifices, that's the kind of edge no stat sheet can quantify. That's what made fans stay. That's what made people believe. So now we ask you, can a bond like this really change a team's fate? Can it outshine hype, outperform numbers, and outlast even the toughest defeats? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this story with someone who still believes in heart over hype. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because these are the stories that matter, the stories that go beyond the game. This isn't just basketball. This is family. This is the Indiana Fever.